Most of us were taught that grammar is just this set of dusty, kind of confusing rules. But what if that's not the whole story? What if grammar is actually a blueprint, a set of really powerful building blocks that lets you construct any idea, any sentence you can possibly imagine? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore.
So what are these essential pieces? I mean, think about it for a second. You're using them right now, in every single thought you have. They are the hidden architecture of our language, the absolute core of how we connect with each other.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the sentence blueprint, then we'll lay down our foundation with nouns and verbs. After that, we'll start adding some detail and color, connect all the pieces, and finally, put on the finishing touches. So, let's get building.
Okay, first up, the sentence blueprint. Before any good builder gets started, they lay out their tools. So let's take a look at what's in our toolkit.
So these are our tools, the 8 parts of speech. It's kind of wild, but every single word you've ever spoken or written fits into one of these categories. And understanding them isn't about memorizing rules. It's about gaining real control over your own ability to communicate clearly and effectively. All right, now for our foundation. Every single sentence, I don't care if it's a simple hello or a super complex paragraph, it stands on 2 pillars. A noun, that's the who or what, and a verb, that's the action. First up, the noun. This is the subject of our sentence, the who or the what. It could be a person, like a teacher, a place, like a city, or even an idea you can't actually touch, like honesty. It's basically the anchor for our entire idea. And what's really cool is how much flexibility nouns give us. We can be super general with a common noun, like house, or we can get laser specific with a proper noun, like Paris. We can name something concrete that we can actually touch, like a table, or an abstract idea we can only feel, like freedom. So if the noun is our what, then the verb is the what's happening. This is the engine of the sentence. It can be a physical action like run, a mental process like think, or just a simple state of being. The bottom line is, without a verb, your sentence is going absolutely nowhere. And this is a really key point. Not all verbs are about running and jumping around. So-called dynamic verbs show clear action, right? Like reading a book. But stative verbs, they express a state, like an emotion or a possession. For example, knowing the answer. Both types are doing absolutely essential work in the sentence. Now put them together, and what do you get? A complete sentence. Dog runs. Yeah, it's simple, but it's a solid foundation. And now we can really start building on it.
Okay, on to section 3, adding detail and color. So our foundation is strong, but let's be honest, it's a little bit gray. Now we get to grab the paint and really bring the picture to life with adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives, they've really only got one job, to describe our nouns. They're the paint, the texture, the style. They answer questions like what kind or how many, and they're what turns a student into a smart student. I mean, just look at the difference one little word can make. We go from the simple dog runs to the happy dog runs. And boom, instantly, there's an image, right? An emotion. We've just given our sentence a personality.
So here's something fascinating. It's a hidden, unspoken rule in English. The order of adjectives is surprisingly strict. We would never say a red, beautiful table. Our brains just know to follow a specific order: opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. It's a rule we all just know without ever being taught. Okay, so if adjectives modify our nouns, what modifies our verbs? Well, that is the job of the adverb. They typically tell us how, when, or where an action is happening. So he doesn't just speak, he speaks slowly.
Right, let's add this new tool to our sentence. The happy dog runs quickly. See how quickly adds a whole other layer of detail to the action? Our mental picture is getting sharper and sharper.
Okay, so we've got our core pieces, but how do we actually connect them to each other? That is the job of our grammatical glue: conjunctions and prepositions. These are what help us build bigger, more complex structures. Think of conjunctions as the bridges of language. They're what connect individual words, phrases, and even entire ideas, letting us build longer and much more interesting sentences. They're absolutely essential connectors. Now, a really easy way to remember the 7 main conjunctions is the acronym FANBOYS: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. These are the true workhorses, linking 2 equal ideas together in a single sentence.
So while conjunctions connect ideas, prepositions give us context. They show us relationships, usually in space or time. They tell us where something is, like on the table, or when it happened, like in the morning. They basically place our nouns in the world.
And here we are, the final step, the finishing touches. Now, these are the specialists, the little tools that add efficiency, polish, and a bit of personality to our construction.
Pronouns are the ultimate efficiency tool. I mean, why would you say, Ali is smart, Ali is a student, when you can just say, he is a student? They're just these elegant substitutes that stop us from sounding repetitive and really make our language flow.
Now, don't underestimate the power of these three tiny words, a, an, and the. They do a critical job. A and an point to something general, like a student, any student. But the is like a spotlight, pointing to a specific one, the house. That small difference is actually huge for being clear. And lastly, we have interjections. These are just short exclamations that express a sudden feeling. They aren't really grammatically connected to the rest of the sentence, but man, they add a burst of human emotion. We're talking about words like, oh, or wow. And all of that brings us to the main takeaway here. When you understand these 8 building blocks, grammar is no longer some boring set of rules you have to follow. You become an architect. You literally have the blueprint to build any idea you can imagine, with total precision and purpose. This is really the key to unlocking clearer, more powerful writing and speaking. So the only question left is, now that you have the blueprint, what are you going to build?